Hey everybody, it's Mandy Ray here to tell you a little bit about the astrology of the upcoming 2 weeks. We're going to go over the full moon in Virgo, which is exact. It's Thursday night into Friday, so it's technically exact Friday the 18th, but we'll be sleeping here in the central US where I am. So it will be, I think the buildup for most people in the United States will be Thursday that they will experience a lot of the full moon stuff. So let's just go into it. I had a lot of good feedback about sharing the chart last time. And so I thought I would do that again. Please feel free to give me some feedback on how you feel about it. I hope it doesn't overwhelm people, but I really like to show you where I'm looking, what I'm getting this stuff from, so that you can follow along. Okay, so I've got today pulled up. Today is Tuesday, March 15th. And we've got a Leo moon today. Now, this is actually a good way to start this because right now there is a lot of fixed energy. That means that there are planets in fixed signs. The first and foremost that I'm talking about is Saturn, Venus, Mars here in Aquarius. I've even got the asteroid Juno and the asteroid Vesta there. So if you're looking at asteroids, that makes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things in Aquarius. Aquarius is fixed air. And I like to equate this to the bird's eye view. It's really the higher mind. It is looking at all of humanity, the future. That's what Aquarius represents. Now, it's traditionally ruled by Saturn, which wants to build, it wants to master. There are limits, there are obstacles with Saturn. It is inviting us to mastery, to responsibility. And so a lot of times Saturn, which is looked at as a malefic in traditional astrology, meaning it can bring some not so fun themes up, to have that in its home of Aquarius, its traditional home, along with another malefic, Mars. Mars is how we take action. It's our motivation. It's our deepest desires. When we're talking about the concept of anger, that's a Mars thing. Fighting, that's a Mars thing. Even surgery is a Mars thing. So that's an Aquarius as well. And so we are really geared towards what are our plans? What does the future hold? How can we either help or hurt humanity? I mean, there are definitely some people in the world that are looking at how they can hurt them right now. So we are definitely focused on how can we innovate these structures to make our future better. I think that's ultimately what Saturn and Aquarius wants to do, make things better, even though it can be not fun sometimes. So that takes care of the two malefics. What's in between? Venus. Venus is what we love. Venus is relationship. It's money. Venus is a morning star, which can be attributed to being a goddess of war as well. So it's pretty full of symbolism to have all of these things together in Aquarius. And Venus being in the middle of Mars and Saturn is referred to as being besieged. And I think it's so interesting that we've got that word that comes from traditional astrology sources. Besiegement is also a word, that is used in war. And when you are besieged, you are surrounded, you have armies on both sides. And that's sort of what Venus feels like right now. Which can make things feel quite heavy. And to top it all off, the moon's in Leo, and it's opposed Saturn today, Tuesday the 15th. And that's a fixed fire sign. Now, anytime the moon transits Leo, it's going to light up these fixed signs. The eclipse points, the nodes, are in fixed signs. So we've got South Node in Scorpio, fixed water, North Node in Taurus, fixed earth, and we've also got Uranus in Taurus, fixed earth. Now, Uranus is about revolution, upheaval, unexpected events, really shakes things up. And Taurus, I mean, we're looking at an earthquake, so you can think about that metaphorically speaking in your own life. You can think about it on a world stage. Taurus is our assets. It's what makes us comfortable. Taurus is the five senses. It's the earth. It's very material. And so to have Uranus there is quite the shakeup. And the first thing that comes to mind is going to be supply chain. We'll talk about the war in a minute, but as far as Uranus and Taurus goes, this is a supply chain thing, financial systems, how we get our food, how we grow our food. It's a very reality-based sign. Like that's when you're talking about reality, you're going to look at fixed Earth Taurus, okay? Could even be our bodies. To have that shakeup there, I think is really related to supply chain stuff. I mean, we're talking about sanctions on Russia, which are making things hard for everyone because then we've got, things that we used to get from them that we can't get anymore. Prices are high. And it's not just war, right? It's not just Russia and Ukraine. It's also, what COVID has done. It's also things like the trucker convoy. I'm just saying that these are all things building up to causing a problem. And as we move through the week, today, I think with the Leo moon, we're becoming aware of this. It's void of course today, which may feel like things won't get off the ground. And it has for me, it's 2:09 p.m. I'm just now recording my video on Tuesday, March 15th. So that really initiates this, hey, this is a thing. I mean, even though we've been aware this is a thing, I think the moon just puts an exclamation point on it in Leo today. Like, can't we just, have fun? Leo wants to be creative and enjoy. And that's not really, I'm not saying joy is not there to be found, but it's not as easily accessible, I would say, as a normal Leo moon transit. Okay. So as we move along this week, we're going to look at Mars and Venus first, I should say. They won't interact with Saturn first. They're going to interact with Uranus first by square. When Venus squares Uranus, I think we can take those supply chain ideas and financial system themes and multiply it, because Venus also rules finances. Now, Venus rules justice, but that is not easily found with Venus and Aquarius square Uranus. It could set off the need to liberate ourselves from something. And I think that we should pay attention to that. Let me tell you exactly when that square is. And I'm just giving you sort of an overview before I get there. So the square is Friday into Saturday. So the reason I'm giving you an overview is because this is going to build all week. And then we have a full moon in the middle of all of it. So it's slowly starting to build this Venus square Uranus. On Tuesday, it is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 4 degrees away from being exactly square. I mean, once we get to 2 degrees, it's going to really ramp up, right? And we have some shakeups. We may be feeling like, what are our values, Uranus and Taurus? Maybe those have changed. Maybe we're more aware of what makes us comfortable because it's hard. They're hard to find. Maybe they're out of it at the store. I mean, I hate to be so mundane about the way I speak about Uranus and Taurus, but I think it's something to pay attention to. It's a very real thing. So that's building all day. We may be aware that there is a plan we need to change. Maybe we need to shift our perspective. It can be a little uncomfortable. It's getting us out of our comfort zone, okay? And the same thing goes for when Mars will square it, which I believe is next week. But again, building slowly. These things build like a bell curve, okay? And then we get to the top and then we come back down. That's just one part of this week's puzzle. The other part is all of this Pisces. So while we're going through this very real besiegement, shake up, change in values, obstacles, limitations with all of the Saturn energy and Uranus energy, we've also got a huge buildup of planets in Pisces. Now, Pisces can be unclear. And, I think I said it on the new moon video that the fog of war came up as soon as the sun went into Pisces. It was like this thing where fog, lack of clarity, what is real in the news, all of that is coming up heavily right now. So it's not so easy to find our direction. It's like, I don't know what I want. I don't know. I'm trying to follow my intuition. There are gifts to be found, inspiration, but can I move on this inspiration? Can I make a move? Mars is, moving towards Saturn, which is the wall. Still got quite a ways to go, but it's getting there and we're going to meet a wall. And I think that that buildup of stuff in Pisces is adding to almost an inability to direct ourselves. So it's putting us into this very spiritual place, metaphysical place. That's what Pisces is. It's mysticism as much as it is confusion. It's escapism as much as it is magic. And those two things can get convoluted. So with Mercury there now, which is our minds, it's like the only thing we can really do is pray or meditate or, be in the moment, be in our dreams, in our inspiration, in our spirit, try to see through the reality that we can't really do much about to deeper meanings. So that is an overview sort of the energies going on. And today the moon's in Leo. Tomorrow the moon moves into Virgo. Actually, it's probably overnight if I had to guess. Yeah, right at midnight. And let me change this chart to a 0 Aries chart because that's always easier to follow. All right. So the moon moves into Virgo as we're sleeping Wednesday in the US, and we wake up with the moon in Virgo, which is already in full moon territory. Anytime the moon moves into the sign of its full moon, it starts to really, really build. Now, all of what I said about Pisces, we can almost take a break from it. That's what I think. I mean, I think that's how it's going to come out on this full moon in Virgo. Virgo is clarity. Virgo is discernment. Virgo is, I call it the pruner of the zodiac. And so as it moves into Virgo, I think we can get our ducks in a row a little bit and understand what the new moon in Pisces was about for us. Maybe understand, okay, this is how I need to plan, and I would take advantage. I would take advantage of the moon in Virgo because I think it's going to be a very auspicious time to actually get the details right in the middle of the chaos, because there is a lot of chaos. Okay, we got fixed air, mutable water, lots of chaos. As the moon moves into Virgo, it will begin to oppose Mercury. This is pretty inspirational, and I think it helps us get a hold of what we think about things. And it also will trine Uranus at the same time. Now, Mercury and Uranus are beginning to sextile on Wednesday. Sextiles are known as an opportunity. So we have an opportunity to maybe change our perception, pay attention to our intuition, and then also get very clear about what it means with the moon in Virgo. And I think that's going to be really nice. So I'm looking at Wednesday as a time that we can get through the muck a little bit. And it won't make many other actual aspects on Wednesday. I think the opposition with Mercury and the trine to Uranus is the biggest one. So if you're looking to innovate and go, okay, how do I get through this? Or what do I do? Or what's my next step? We can draw on the inspiration of Pisces, and we can draw on the shift of Uranus and Taurus, the shift in values, the inspiration, the thinking outside of the box. And then the moon in Virgo allows us to bring it into focus on Wednesday. So I would definitely take advantage of Wednesday. Now we get into Thursday. That's definitely full moon territory. As we wake up, the moon is opposite Jupiter. Now this is even more of what Wednesday was to a certain extent. Jupiter is expansion. Right now, Jupiter is expanding Pisces. So it could be extra confusing with Jupiter in Pisces, extra magical with Jupiter in Pisces. But the moon in Virgo, Jupiter is expanding that need to get discernment, to get clarity. Now, I will say this could lead to anxiety. Okay, I need to do something about it. I need to do something about it. That's what Jupiter and the moon opposing could represent. Jupiter is truth, though. And I think with this moon opposing Jupiter, there is a truth that we're going to be let in on, whether that be just in ourselves, and our intuition says, no, it's this, not that. Now, I will say this too. This is a time I said plan. This is a time to make lists. This is a time to clean your house. This is a very good use of this energy. Clean out your emails. Virgo is the pruner. It is the, we need to keep what is necessary. We need to get to the details. With the opposition to Jupiter, that's just going to be even more. So if you feel the need to clean on Thursday, that's what's going on. And I would venture to guess that this like action that we take, maybe cleaning up our email, maybe editing something, whatever that Virgo thing is, will help us get to a truth inside ourselves. So I really love that. Now, let me go through the rising signs of this full moon, because this full moon happens again overnight. So first it will oppose Neptune at 23 degrees. That is at 7 p.m. Thursday evening. That is spacey. I'm not saying moon opposite Jupiter won't be spacey. I am saying Neptune, its like main job is to diffuse. Okay. And Neptune is the modern ruler of Pisces. Jupiter is the traditional ruler of Pisces. So during this moment at night, this is the time to like maybe crawl in bed a little early. Maybe if you're, poetry, meditation, take a bath, take care of yourself. Virgo really is concerned with bodily health. So make sure you're doing self-care Thursday night. And then your dreams will probably be crazy, by the way. Then it moves to be a full moon in Birmingham, Alabama. It's like around 2:15 a.m. So most people will be asleep. But that doesn't mean it's not working on you. The full moon is trine Pluto, and that is a big deal. Here we go. The reason I think it's a big deal is because at the new moon in Pisces, which was March 2nd, which started this moon phase is the culmination of this, what started in early March. Mars and Venus were conjunct Pluto at that new moon. At this full moon, it is trine Pluto. So the new moon and the full moon both had some interaction with Pluto going on. Pluto is power, it's empowerment, it's disempowerment. It can be things we hide under the surface. It is, you're talking about the god of the underworld. So it's our deepest desires. And that's, where the push to want to be in power comes from. Now, it can also be disempowerment. And that may be a lot of what we were feeling with Mars and Venus conjunct Pluto is disempowerment. Either way, it's transformation. We find out, where are we personally empowered? Where are we disempowered? What are our boundaries? What are the rules for how I share myself with people? So this full moon, I think, really will be a boost to the Pluto story, to the personal empowerment story, to maybe the need to get rid of stuff. Don't forget, Virgo prunes. Pluto will leave things behind if they're not working. But it will also say, you got this. I am a fan of Pluto when it's in good aspect to stuff, boosting your ability to empower yourself. So let me read through the rising signs. I'll go through them. Pulling up my notes here. For Aries Rising, this is going to be in your 6th house. And the 6th house is health. It is daily routine. It's a lot like just the notion of Virgo in general. And let me go ahead and show you this on the chart, because someone said they really like to see where the moon was on the chart. So let's do that. And then I'll go back to 0 Aries. Where's my whole sign house? Okay. Now, let's go to Aries Rising here on. All right. There we go. So we'll see. Aries Rising. Here we go. Moon in Virgo in your 6th house. This is going to bring some clarity to routines, to what you do for work, how you make your money, some discernment there, maybe some places you need to prune back the dead limbs, right? Especially with this trine to Pluto, which is in your 10th house of career. So there is some personal empowerment coming through with career, legacy, public reputation through this Virgo full moon. And the key to career success, to that Pluto in your 10th house of I need to be successful is your routine in your everyday life. And you will see that with this full moon. So, I mean, if you have habits that you want to stop, this is the time to do that. If you are trying, to start new habits, this is the time to do that. It's the time to make a plan, get organized, and that is going to be a big deal for your career. Okay, Taurus rising. This is in your 5th house of creativity, inner child, fun, enjoyment. And that's what this full moon is bringing clarity to. What did I say on my thing? I said clarity and focus to creative or romantic endeavors, children in your sphere or your inner child. So when it trines Pluto in your 9th house, you can see how you're becoming more sure of your inner truth. The 9th house is your worldview. Pluto is like empowering you there. What you know, you are sure of. And that will allow you to create from this 5th house area without fear. So if you've been looking to create anything, if children have been a theme for you, also if you've been looking to just have some adventure and fun in your life, this full moon is what that is for. So being creative is very important. Playing is very important for this full moon. And you may have to make time for it. That's what Virgo is there for. Virgo is there to plan it. So plan time to be creative, to enjoy your life, and the Pluto in your 9th house is like adventure, philosophy. And that's what you're drawing on. All right, let's go to Gemini rising. So in your 4th house of home and family, down here at the bottom of the chart, Pluto is in your 8th house of shared resources, inheritance, taxes, other people's money, how you share yourself. So this to me has a very strong correlation with what's going on in your home and family life, literally the things you own, your emotional security. There's more clarity coming there. You're going to find out, like if you need to clean out your home, this is going to be the time. If you need to get very clear, for instance, on what you own versus what someone else owns, this is going to be that time. You are empowered through this 8th house place right now. You've done a lot of work in the 8th house, which is, what am I worth? How do I share myself? Also, what my boundaries are. Am I empowered in my daily life, in my general life existence? Are there disempowering situations? And I would say it definitely relates to home and family for this full moon for you. So whether it be you need to make a space in your home, clean out a room in your home, whatever the case may be, that's what this full moon is focusing on. And it may be that you need a place in your home, to make some boundaries. So like, I need a corner of the room that I can go be alone in. I mean, Pluto in the 8th house, maybe needing some alone time, to work on your own emotional security. But that's the main focus for you. All right, Cancer rising. This is in your 3rd house. The 3rd house is communication, decision-making processes, how you think, how you talk. And, it's even local community, okay? That is what this full moon is bringing clarity to. Maybe you need to do some planning. Maybe you're involved in your local community and it needs to be planned, or you need to think through some things, communicate who you are to others. Pluto's in your 7th house of relationships. So basically the full moon is about speaking your truth, speaking clearly your boundaries, what you will and will not accept, and also getting very clear on some decisions, some direction for Cancer rising. All right. For Leo rising, 2nd house, finances, self-worth. Got to do some, Virgo does require a little work. Let's put it that way, okay? It's not just like you can let it happen. It will. I mean, it will work without you or not. But with Virgo comes the ability to co-create, like it is an earth sign. It's a mutable earth sign. So you're able to make changes. For you in your 2nd house of assets, finances, there may be a situation that was unclear there that is going to be clear. And Pluto is in your 6th house of routine, work, what you do for money, daily life. That is empowering you in some way financially, I would say. Also self-worth. I don't like to just relegate the second house to finances because you're never going to have a good financial situation if you're not, feeling worthy. So the two are very linked. You need to work on your worth and say, this is what I'm worth every day at work, maybe asking for more money. So get clear on that. I think it's very important. You definitely deserve it, Leo Rising. Don't forget that. Okay. For Virgo Rising, this is in your first house. This is you, your identity, independence, autonomy. Who are you? Do you know? This full moon's going to maybe bring some clarity to it. Pluto's in your fifth house of creativity, children, your purpose. And I think for Virgo Risings, which I think this energy has been, the current transits have actually been fairly good for Virgo Risings have had a good time. Maybe at least in my own observations through client work, I've seen the Virgo Risings they're hitting it right now. And this full moon is about letting your light shine. I think Virgo Risings are here for this moment for a reason. So people are looking to you. They're looking to your creativity. It's time for you to show up. That's what this full moon is about. Show your creative light, and plan to do that, I guess, with Virgo, right? Like you have to actually sometimes, especially with Virgo Rising, who may feel like they can make themselves small, but this is the time to be big. And you may have to make room for that, plan it somehow, think about it, write about it. You have a speech to make. You're going to be seen during this full moon, and it's important. And I think it's very good for you. And you're going to get clearer, I think, on who you are actually, how you want to show up. I mean, the first house really can be tweaked if you want to. So very excited for you. Libra Risings, this full moon is in your 12th house. That is pretty abstract. This is very spiritual. I don't know that there will be a whole lot of driving this boat, right? Directing this. This is more like a subconscious process for you. But luckily things may be clearer, maybe intuitively speaking. Pluto is in your fourth house of home, family, emotional security. So this feels like it's working on your maybe emotional health, spiritual health, and you're really getting clear on that, maybe feeling stronger, feeling more secure. And I think it's about accepting that. That's what this full moon is for you. Accept that you have support. Okay. Scorpio Rising. This full moon is in your 11th house. That is goals, networking. You're getting clear on this. Maybe the people that you want to be networking with, maybe what your goals for the future are. So we've got a little clarity there. It's a good time to plan ahead for this full moon, especially in your 11th house. Also a good time to get out there and see who you know moving and shaking, because Pluto is in your 3rd house. This is your decision-making process, is how you think, how you speak. And there is some empowerment coming through here. And it's going to empower you to speak to those goals, to that network. And that's what this full moon is about for you. So it can also be about cleaning out people in your network that no longer serve you, letting go of those things. But I think ultimately this is about getting very clear on who you want your tribe to be, and what you want your goals to be. That's what this is for you. Sag Rising, 10th house, career, public reputation, success. That's what this full moon is about for you. I think since the new moon, it could have been a very internal time, and now it's asking you to show up and do the thing. This will be trine Pluto in your 2nd house of finances and self-worth. So this could be very good for you, Sag Rising. You could maybe, see things come to fruition at work, in your career, in your legacy, and financially speaking as well. So getting very clear on what you want to be doing. The 10th house is really about meaning. Like what do I want to leave behind? And I know that's a big question, and not one, especially if you're young, not one you might think about. but every day we're leaving our legacy behind. And that is really what this full moon is about for you. So you could be bolstered by some new financial situation that's going really well for you. Or it could be that you need to ask for more money because you're doing so well at work. Either way, that these two things are related. And I think it's a fortunate thing for you. Capricorn Rising. This full moon is in your 9th house of your truth, what you know to be true, your worldview, philosophy, another abstract area. Truth, interestingly enough, is a pretty abstract concept, right? Because truth is different to everyone. So what do you believe about the world? That's what this full moon is asking you to get clear on. What do you believe that you want? What do you believe your adventure holds? The 9th house also rules travel. So there could be some of that wrapped up in this full moon for you. Now, Pluto is in your 1st house of identity and self. So this truth is really about who you believe you are. How empowered you feel like you are to be your authentic self, to show up and say, this is who I am. This is what I believe. And I am firm and clear on it. That's what this full moon is about for you. And hopefully bringing some clarity to any decisions you may have had a hard time making or any thought processes that have been confusing. I think direction gets a lot more clear for you, Capricorn Rising. Aquarius Rising, this is in your 8th house. That is shared resources, what you own with others, what debts you owe, taxes, inheritance, contracts. And I think that if you have any contracts, these are going to be coming into focus. And this could be more than just like written contracts. I like to think of friendship sometimes as a contract, right? So whatever that means to you, that's what this full moon is bringing into clarity. Maybe what you're worth, your boundaries, how much you want to give. Pluto's in your 12th house, another abstract idea, spirituality, but you're empowered there. I don't know if you've been meditating a lot or working on your own spiritual empowerment, but that will in turn bolster this 8th house area that says, I need to get clear on who I've got contracts with, maybe what my inheritance will be. Maybe I'm planning for new partnerships. You know, there could be a lot of different things going on in the 8th house there. It also, I mean, the 8th house can be a place that rules sex because it's how we share ourselves. But there's some clarity coming to that and some empowerment coming through that. Okay, Pisces Rising, last, never least. This is in your 7th house of relationships. So some clarity and focus coming to that. Relationships are more than just romantic. They're also friendships, business partnerships can also be what this full moon is bringing into focus for you. And so it's a very people-focused full moon. It's trine Pluto in your 11th house of networking, large groups of people, and also goals. So there is empowerment coming through that network, that goal, that 11th house that you're going to use, I think, to get more clear on this 7th house relationship stuff. So again, Virgo can be the pruner. There may be a little work involved, but ultimately, I think you're getting to the details of if there's been any issues in relationships, any lack of clarity on what to do with a certain relationship, this full moon will help you with that. All right, so that takes care of the rising signs. And I'm going to go back to the 0 Aries chart so we can move on to Friday. Friday the 18th, which is where I have on my chart here. All right. So here we are. The moon's in Virgo and boom, it pops into Libra at 7-ish a.m. Central Daylight Time in the Southeast United States. So moon in Libra quickly changes this from Virgo focus to Libra balance to other people. And that makes sense. With a trine to Pluto, you know, there may be conversations we have to have. There may be things we have to work out with people on this Libra moon. Now, Friday is pretty nice in that Venus will sextile Chiron. And Chiron is the wounded healer. And this is encouraging us to really, you know, love ourselves, be accepting of ourselves. And at the same time, the moon will start to apply to touch both of those things, especially as we get toward the evening. It gets very close to opposing Chiron there and trining Venus there. So that's nice. But first, the moon will trine Mars. Now, that can be motivation. It can also encourage us to, there could be passion there. And I think that's really nice that the moon is applying to that trine all day. With Mars, it's like it's an active Friday, I feel. But there could also be, even though a trine is looked at as positive, there can also be this instinct to speak our desires to others in Libra, and maybe having to work that out, especially with Mars. It can be anger, right? It can be like inflammation. So I say Mars trine Moon could be a little emotionally inflamed, but not terribly so, especially since right after it will trine Venus and then oppose Chiron. So this seems like it could be a very healing day, another point of clarity for us. Getting some balance in our lives that really supports our healing. I think that's going to be what this is about on Friday. All right, so we move to Saturday, and Moon's still in Libra, and it will be starting to. That exact Venus square Uranus is really. It comes in exactly overnight. So let's look at Friday again, because even though it's not exact by degree, 11 to 12, that's a square. It is going to be exact overnight. So this is building for us as the night moves on. So there could be some discomfort, which makes sense with a Libra moon, having to work it out with others, like what are our values? What do we do? Where do we go? Luckily, I think Venus being sextile Chiron will allow us to be in our self-acceptance, in our own, like loving ourselves while we go through this very difficult, maybe shift, having to explain ourselves to others. So Friday is sort of a mixed bag. It's very active. And then we go into Saturday, and Venus squares Uranus overnight. So that will be past by the time we pretty much wake up. But the moon in Libra will be coming into a trine with Saturn. That starts to get really active maybe after lunch because it gets closer to that trine. I would say this is going to be really nice for productivity, again, for clarity on where we're going, direction, because that is what Aquarius is about. It's the future, it's innovation, it's how are we moving forward? So the moon in Libra, which is balance, relationships, trine Saturn on March 19th is going to be a really nice, productive, maybe clarity. And I say maybe because we've got all this Pisces and I want to talk about that. Saturday is the last day of Pisces season. So the sun's at the anaretic degree of Pisces, which is the degree of crisis. So I would definitely lean on this moon trine Saturn for clarity. I think it's really going to be the best chance we have at getting clear on it. So like really moving your hands. Saturn likes to work with things, again, making more plans, lists. It could feel very social as well. The moon in Libra makes things really social Saturday. So overall, I'm going to say this is nice. There's no real hard squares coming in, except for Mars approaching that square to Uranus. Saturday looks pretty nice, and hopefully productive, hopefully not confusing. Watch your addictions on this day. The sun at the 29th degree of Pisces can heighten that a little bit, make you a little more sensitive. Like if you go out drinking, it's St. Patrick's Day. So be aware of that. Okay. Now we go into Sunday. And Sunday morning, let me just put it this way. The moon is void of course after that 20 degree mark. So after about 7. Okay, so that's nice because 7 p.m., you're not really going to be doing much 7 p.m. on a Saturday anyway. It's kind of an unproductive thing when the moon is void of course, meaning it's not making any more aspects. So there is that. As we get into Sunday, though, things kind of take a little bit of a deeper turn. Just before 11, so mid-morning, the moon moves into Scorpio. This is pretty deep water. Right before that, so at like 10:30, the sun moves into Aries, and then at 10:40, the moon moves into Scorpio. First of all, this is significant because it's the Aries equinox. It is spring, everybody. Happy spring. I, for one, am really excited about the sun moving out of Pisces because it just has seemed so unclear. The other thing is, though, with the moon in Scorpio, that makes both the sun and the moon Mars ruled. Okay. Mars is a malefic. Mars is also motivation. I don't give it all just negative themes. I think Mars rules motivation. It rules activity, physical activity, movement. So pretty active. But Scorpio is really an internal, emotional Mars. Okay. It is our root chakra. It's the deepest power center that we have. So the moon being there really turns things kind of inward, even though it's spring season. And we may be thinking about, what we really want, what our heart really wants. Now, the moon in Scorpio is not in its favorite place. I'll say it that way. It kind of can be secretive and closed off in Scorpio, which whatever, that can happen. But the thing about any fixed sign, I started this at the beginning of the video, is it will square all of this Aquarius. It will oppose this Uranus and Taurus. So this Scorpio, it will also touch the nodes of the moon, which is where eclipses happen. This moon transit is going to be interesting. Okay. Sunday, luckily, it doesn't really make any exact aspects. So I think the Scorpio moon is just sort of like hanging out on Sunday. Even though things do turn, maybe passionate. The sun and the moon are both Mars ruled now. There's action, definitely. We're moving around, we're doing things, but there is this serious undertone, okay? It's Monday that I'm really looking at because as we leave Sunday, Mars gets very close to exactly square Uranus. Now, Mars square Uranus is a little bit more, I think it's more of a shakeup than Venus square Uranus. Venus square Uranus is about Venus's love and money and relationships square Uranus, which is upheaval and revolution, right? That's one thing. Mars is action, anger, willpower. And when you take that square Uranus, I always tell people don't do anything dangerous on Mars square Uranus days. Like probably don't go skydiving, but probably a good idea. This could be Mars Uranus aspects tend to have real world things come out of them. Literal earthquakes, fires, volcano explosions, especially with Uranus and Taurus. This could also have supply chain implications. We had Venus square Uranus, and now we've got Mars square Uranus. Okay, this also, like when you're talking about people who are in power, that is a Mars thing. So Mars square Uranus, we get to see unexpected events in the news. It could have to do with the supply chain crisis. It could have to do with humanity in general. What is good for the future in humanity versus what is good for me, I think, is this kind of fight here. Now, at the same time, well, look, the moon is square Mars and opposite Uranus. This is called a T-square, and it's inherently tense, okay? So the moon in Scorpio wants to stay in this place of control. Uranus and Taurus will not allow it, and Mars and Aquarius will not allow it. So we can see ourselves having to shift a lot on Monday. Okay, I'll just put it that way. Anything else that I'm seeing? Oh, yes, I almost forgot. Mercury conjunct Jupiter, which, that's Sunday evening. So Sunday really will be spacey, I think. Let's just put it that way. I'm not going to go too far back in Sunday, but Mercury conjunct Jupiter is going to be really nice, I think, and allow us to see through to some truth. Maybe draw on some inspiration. That Sunday night, it moves past. Then we have the moon T-square to Mars. And then as we move on, that's to start off Monday, the 21st, is that T-square. Okay, that's just to start us off. And then the moon squares Venus. That is around lunchtime. And then the moon applies to a square with Saturn, all on Monday. Monday, the 21st, looks very sort of not fun. I'm just not gonna lie. Like, I don't want to, put fear in anyone's heart, because that is definitely not what I'm saying. It just looks like we're going to be in this like tense moment. And the most important thing to do is to take care of yourself. With the moon in Scorpio, take a bath, eat nourishing food. I mean, it's really, you need to move that emotion. I think that's very important. So whatever goes on, keep in mind, it could be triggering, it can be hard, but we do have some luck, and that is the moon will trine Jupiter. Now, this is in the evening. At the same time, it's like moving to square Saturn. It will trine Mercury as well. It will trine Neptune as well. So we have gifts, we have intuition. So pay attention, meditation, synchronicities, spiritual concepts. That is what will help us during this time. Just remember to take care of yourself, to connect with things that seem spiritual to you, whatever that might be. All right, so we're going to move to Tuesday with the moon in Sagittarius. Thank goodness. I'm going to say that, even though it's going to make some hard aspects, I'm just like, yeah, because that Scorpio moon, Monday, Sunday night, just who knows? Who knows? Okay. The Sagittarius moon transit is going to be a lot less intense, I think, maybe a little more confusing, because it will square all of the Pisces stuff. And this is Tuesday, the 22nd. But it will also sextile Mars and Venus in Aquarius. So there's an opportunity here for optimism, expansiveness, and like, especially if we had a hard day Monday, I can assume that Tuesday with a Sagittarius moon is going to be like, whoo, I need to get out and have some fun, right? That's probably what that's going to be about. Getting to the truth of the matter, deciding what we believe about things. That is a Sagittarius moon transit, sextile Mars, sextile Venus. On Wednesday morning, it is still sextile Mars and Venus, still in Sagittarius. So I think really helping us be productive. The only problem is toward the evening on Wednesday, the 23rd, it will square Jupiter, which can lead to really some escapism, wanting to get out, but it will sextile Saturn, which kind of keeps our feet on the ground. So I would say Wednesday night, dreams, intuition, going to be pretty huge, optimism. Like after Monday's day, I give this like an A+ on the energy, right? Maybe a little confusion, but definitely feeling better, feeling lighter. That's, yeah, so the 22nd, 23rd, Sagittarius moon, pretty good. All right, now as we get to Thursday, it's at the late degrees of Sagittarius, and it will be squaring Mercury. So Thursday morning, we could wake up with a little bit of like, what do I have to do today? Like, I don't know, I just want to, can I just like go on a trip and like go to the beach or something? That's sort of what Thursday morning feels like, but that quickly lets off, and it will be void of course for a couple of hours. So Thursday morning might start slow. I'm going to say that. Maybe hard to get things done Thursday, the 24th. But when it moves into Capricorn in the evening, that's when it's like, okay, now let's do the thing. This is also the third quarter square of the moon on March 24th on Thursday. That's going to be a big deal because it's Aries to Capricorn. That's a cardinal square, which can be intense. This is, I believe the third quarter is crisis in consciousness. So we're having to adjust to something. And it's like, the sun in Aries really wants to, it wants to do the springtime thing. It wants to be out. It wants to move. It wants to get things done. The moon in Capricorn is like, there are rules and there are steps to follow. And that may be tense, needing to do some work before you can do the Aries thing. So that's Thursday evening. I'm going to give that the highest energy because it will happen overnight and then we'll be past that. Now, Friday morning, the moon is still in Capricorn. And it'll square Chiron first, which is the wounded healer. So that can be a little bit of a sensitive moment, Friday the 25th, but not, it's brief. And then it will really not make any other connections until, no, it trines Uranus. That's right. So around 2 p.m., the moon in Capricorn trines Uranus. I think that'll be a welcome, again, brief period of like an emotional adjustment, being able to shift somewhere, especially maybe the rules, maybe what we think the rules are. And Uranus is like, no, these are not the rules anymore. And the moon in Capricorn is like, okay, we'll adjust them then. So I think that's nice. But then after that, Friday evening, it's not really doing anything but applying to a sextile with Jupiter. And that happens overnight. So I think, Friday evening with all of that in mind is shaping up to be a nice sextile. And I really like that. Maybe some dreams Friday night, the 25th. It may be a nice respite. Let me just put it that way, because it will also sextile Neptune. It will hit Pluto. And this is Saturday, the 26th, as it sextiles Mercury. Yes. Is it exactly? Almost. So all day Saturday, the moon is conjoining Pluto, which is empowerment. What has power over you, what doesn't. And this could have a little bit of a ping back to this full moon in Virgo that I just did a reading for each sign on, because this is the Pluto I was talking about, where it is. Pay attention, because on Saturday the 26th, if you go back through your rising signs, I tell you where Pluto is in your chart. Pay attention to that spot on March 26th, the moon will hit Pluto, and you'll either have to, adjust to empower yourself. There could be some truths that come up, some transformation, brief, but I think potent on Saturday, the 26th. And then Sunday, the 27th, we've got moon in Aquarius. What this is going to do is it's going to, and Mercury moves into Aries. Y'all better party. Look, March 28th. It's really overnight on March 27th. Right? Yeah. Sunday, March 27th. Mercury moves into Aries. Okay. And then we've got, so Saturday and then Sunday, we've got some big shifts. Saturday, the 26th, is that moon Pluto I was telling you to pay attention to, which is about power, empowerment, disempowerment. March 27th is a big shift. Mercury moves into Aries. Our thoughts are able to be clear again. This is great. Now it is under the beams. It's going to hit the sun at some point, but I still think, we are so excited about this, everybody. The moon in Aquarius is bringing our attention to the future, to our structures, to how we have to innovate those structures. And I think on Sunday, as it applies to Mars all day, it's going to feel very, very active. The moon will also sextile the sun. You're probably making moves on Sunday, whether that be for your future plans in your network. It could feel very social. Now, as it applies to Mars, it could also be pretty triggering. So don't forget about that. Don't forget, with the sun in Aries and Mars in Aquarius with the moon there could be things that bring up anger, bring up passion this day on the 27th. So just keep that in mind. And then as we move into Monday, the 28th, the moon will conjunct Venus as we wake up, and then Saturn, because they're all three together. Now, this is where I'm going to leave you Monday, March 28th, because this is a big day. This could be a day that feels hard. Venus conjunct Saturn, but is also a day of resolve. We make a commitment to do something on this day. Saturn is limitations and obstacles. Okay, so it may feel like joy is hard to find. The moon is there, conjunct Venus and Saturn. And that we even feel this way, right? We're feeling into how do we structure our lives for the benefit of the good of humanity. That's just a small order, right? But also for ourselves. So it may feel like things are hard, but let me tell you something. After this day, it gets a little easier. Venus moves past Saturn. So does the moon. And that is, that's the nighttime. So by Tuesday, the 29th, we're getting back into new moon territory. The moon will be in Pisces again. The new moon is not until, I want to say, like April 1st. It's April Fool's Day. But past this, I mean, the only thing we'll have to contend with is Mars conjunct Saturn, but that's not until after the next new moon anyway. And I'm telling you all this to say, once we get past Mars and Saturn on April 4th, once Mars passes Saturn, I've got it, April 4th and 5th. I'm giving you a little preview. The gifts come, and we can, I think, I'm hoping we can feel good for a minute. I do wonder, I mean, there's a new variant, whatever, that's not so good. That could be, it could be what the Mars-Saturn conjunction is about. The last time Mars conjoined Saturn was the beginning of 2020 when we went into lockdown. I don't know that that's what this is about. This looks like trying to do it differently, especially with Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces. I will come back before this, and I wanted to just get you up to Monday, March 28th, because that day looks extremely heavy with Saturn there. And I wanted to tell you about it before I let you go. I'll try to come back before March 28th just to give another update. But as always, I do all of my I do my weekly newsletters written, so please subscribe to those. And you can keep up to date with what's going on in written form, which may be a little more copacetic, more able to understand than me going blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. And I hope this helps you for the next upcoming couple of weeks. Mark some things on your calendar. Get some clarity this full moon, and I will see you sometime, maybe the 26th. I'll do another video. Mwah.